There is tons of action this season. And after all of the preparation and training, you really can't help but escape into that world.
It's exciting to get out onto location because you've just got the wind, the sea, and all the elements of our world. And landscape brings a poetry to the show, I think.
Wales is the perfect location for a show like this. It's like landscapes are dramatic and the weather of Wales really contributes to the whole ambience.
All the elements.
Wales provides scope and location the way that we cannot get anywhere.
It's gorgeous, and it feels very kind of Westeros, House of the Dragon sort of environment, which is awesome. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Do it.
The aftermath of the Battle of the Gullet was probably one of our most challenging pieces to do.
When you see this and the breadth of it, this shows the cost of something like the Gullet.
We had to use a mixture of some real bodies and then some prosthetic bodies. With the real bodies, obviously some of those characters had to have big wounds on because they'd been through a battle.
It's so creepy. You know it's fake, but then the detail is so well done. It was very surreal.
The great thing about our dummies was that all the heads are quite easily interchangeable. So I think we made 44 heads in total.
Otherwise, we're going to see the same 20 heads over again.
Prosthetic has a thing about creating prosthetic of crew members' faces, so that's always a fun thing to watch.
Everybody wants to be a dead dummy. I think we actually had more volunteers than we had needs for bodies. Pop them in the front.
Give us a picture like you've kind of got death rushing up to meet you. It was good. I think you did a good job holding that.
Thank you. Kind of look constipated.
So the next stage is to make a printable head.
Here we have a box fresh Dan Story head.
Yeah, mould that, pull the silicone version out. We'll go through hair, go through paint, have some eyes put in. Then the beard has to be punched in by hand, individually with a needle. We'll give you a cool look.
We're going to be hunting for me on set, you realise.
Then the behind-the-scenes guys definitely in the wine shot.
When you misbehave on House of the Dragon, you never know when you might end up just a bloated body floating in the wreckage of the Gullet.
Because before it was in print, taking that.
Baylor flying back with Jace's body is incredibly sad. We had to work out how to put Jace's body over the dragon.
The buck isn't designed for two people, but thankfully in our sequence one of them's dead. So we didn't have to have them moving around too much.
Emma said I look like Edward Scissorhands.
Harry, was brilliant. Lying there in an incredibly uncomfortable position.
That feels great. Comfortable. You okay just to fall back, dead body on there, just mind your head on site so yeah, I'm all good.
I think one of the most challenging things as an actor is to play dead. It's long old days, and by the end of the day, if you lay down with your eyes closed and don't move a muscle for 10 minutes, you will fall asleep. So I've got my eyes closed, obviously can't open them, and I'm trying not to fall asleep, obviously you can't. And I think one of the rehearsals, I actually woke myself up snoring, and they were actually shooting, and I went, like that because I obviously tried to wake myself up, but how can you wake yourself up if your eyes are closed? Do you know what I mean? So it was quite challenging.
Claire showed me some images quite early on about how pale and sort of vulnerable she wanted to see Jace at the end moments. So we worked on, paling up his skin and painting in some veins.
Got a lot of dialogue. Can you please leave me alone?
Oh, I could wax lyrical about Harry all day. I love him. I haven't earned this at all, but I feel deeply proud of the young man that he's becoming.
You look well.
Jay's gone on a massive journey, but then so have I as a person, I think. So I feel like we've kind of grew up together in a way.
It was very affecting for me. We cast Harry when he was a young man. I want to say he was 16 when we cast him. But to see him mature as a man and as a performer, it's just you don't get that all the time.
It's just so sad. We've done every single part of this journey together, so it sort of doesn't feel real that he's not going to be back or that he's gone. But we had such a good time. He's the best boy.
I will miss his kindness and generosity and sensitivity on set. We all say often, we do not deserve him.
These memories and the people that I've met on this show is amazing. I'm just grateful, really.
Such a juvenile.
Sorry. I'll be professional. Come on.
Second season, please. Fake one? Oh, it's your one. Back for more. It's like we never left, darling.
Filming the rookery was great. We basically shot it in the studio and a lot.
We had two rookeries, the one that you can see it from the outside, the you can see from the inside. The one from the inside.
It was like a wooden box, and myself and Matthew sat inside it with, 30-odd screaming ravens.
It was built well enough so that you could take the back off where the ravens were and then shoot through the birds onto our heroes, whilst all the time they're being pushed and pulled and rocked about.
It's basically people pushing it and moving it so you can feel the movement from inside.
And me saying, more, less, 50% more, 30% less.
Okay, a bit more, please, guys.
A load of guys are rattling the thing around, so we're like, oh my God, bouncing around as if we're going down a bumpy road.
That was really cool, kind of going back to basics and how do we move this? Well, we just move it, right?
On this show, you can go from a day of seeing two ships crash into each other in a wet tank, then you go into another stage, and there's a grip rocking a half of a horse cart with his foot. And look, it all results in the same credible, believable film at the end of it, and that's filmmaking for you.
We were all laughing so much that day with, all those birds flapping about and this tiny little space.
The crows are horrible, but, we're still in touch. We text.
What is it?
We shot the outside of the rookery in location.
It's great to do, I wouldn't call it action. It's nice to be a bit physically violent. And hitting someone with a birdcage is always fun.
3, 2, 1, action!
There's sort of a semi-comedic element to that scene.
It's messy and awkward and sort of nasty. These aren't warriors, these are people who are making the best with what's to hand.
And then Tom added the brilliant idea there that when he takes the arrow and just stabs the Staunton soldier repeatedly, so he had a vessel for his rage.
And then episode 2 evolves from grief and aftermath from a battle to how Rhaenyra reacts to it.
Today, King's Landing receives its queen.
It's a peak moment on the story. As a cinematographer, what I tried to do was to just give it a very special theme to it. So early on, we decided we're gonna make the scene brighter as it progressed. So they leave Dragonstone on a cloudy, kind of stormy day. And as they reach King's Landing, the sky opens up and there's like tons of sunlight coming in.
We set out with some rules on the buck, like basically if we had actual dragons or if we were up in the sky, like how could we shoot that? Because you want there to be some kind of familiarity with the cinematic language of shooting things like practically up in the air.
I have to really have a shout out to the stunt team. They're a brilliant set of boys and wonderfully skilled. Mad as foxes, mate. They're all like, oh yeah, we're getting burned tomorrow. Can't wait. I'm like, you lot are off your head.
It's always fun to have Matt Smith slicing through people.
I was thinking about Quentin Tarantino when we were shooting that scene. You know, as he just cuts his way through. I just woke up one morning, it's like, yes, we have to have a top shot with all these pools of blood.
And then they end up getting to the throne, which is, you know, personally is one of like the coolest moments, and it's a turning point.
I think my favourite scene to shoot this season was claiming the throne in episode 2. Pretending to behead someone whilst crying uncontrollably is one of the maddest acting challenges I've ever undertaken.
My favourite scene to shoot was, I think, Otto's beheading, because it's such a big moment in the show, and it's also our first day on set.
Good to be back.
So it scratched a couple of itches, you know. It's like us back in shooting mode, and, you know, what's more fun than cutting someone's head off in the throne room, right?
I'd never done a beheading on this show, but everyone else had seemingly done tons of them. It's actually a very simple process.
When you have scenes like the character being beheaded, which happens quite a lot, we make sure that we have all the swords required for that action. Usually that means, you know, having the hero sword, having the full rubber sword, and having numerous amounts of cut-down versions of that sword. So it's important that we're standing by, making sure that we speak to the stunt department who are there on the day, and the director as to how this action plays out.
Like, I want her to go to strike and then shut her eyes.
Yeah,
that is just hard.
It's like you've got the angle wrong rather than the distance wrong.
Yeah, right.
Yep, that's it. That's it.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
and then making sure the visual effects department have got what they need, because they're going to have to add on the rest of the sword.
Okay, and walk away now to the throne.
There wasn't a lot of screen time with Rhys this season. I will just miss his naughtiness and his silliness, but I saw Rhys very recently, he took me on a boat, so it's all good.
Enjoy, guys. Stay alive.
I'll see you later.
As long as you can.
Look after yourself, mate.
Aemond arriving at Harrenhal was an incredible sequence to get. It really jumped off the page. It was very exciting to shoot.
For me as a VFX producer, I'm reading episode 1. I'm thinking you couldn't write more visual effects into an episode. And then we get to episode 2. And then we have the opening aftermath. Dragons landing at King's Landing, you know, massive sequence. And then Vhagar lands at Harrenhal, and it's huge.
When I was thinking about Vhagar landing in that space, I started thinking about King Kong. The previous season, we'd had all that scaffolding and they were building up the Great Hall. And I started thinking, what about if when Vhagar lands, all these old arches and everything that they built started falling apart?
For us, that's just a massive all-out CG fest. And then we have Burns on top of that.
Okay, here we go. Ready, and 3, 2, 1, action!
Well done, guys. Got that. Well done. Very good.
We had not seen Aemond in his proper battle armor to date, because he went into battle on his dragon, which, you know, he can do in a t-shirt and shorts. But this, he knew he was gonna have to get down and get dirty. So certainly he would have a set of battle armor. What does that look like?
This season, we've had a lot of new designs, but I'd say Aemond, he was one of the most complex and really significant builds.
It's very different to anything else we've seen on anyone else in the show so far. And Simon's workshop of 15 people spent 26 weeks working on it. It was brilliant.
Very heavily inspired by kind of mid-medieval Gothic armors.
Ewan has this very classical build. He's very lean. He very much has the build of a actual medieval warrior.
I've been fascinated by St. George and the Dragon, and he's depicted in full plate armour and this tall, lithe figure. And I thought Ewan has the perfect physique to carry that off. And then we looked at sculptures and different armours and then how you would tweak that in order to make it feel Targaryen.
We went through many different iterations of dragon scale, and eventually we settled on hundreds of small overlapping dragon scales that are kind of unique in shape to Aemond. They have quite a sharp and menacing look to them. But it's a complete head-to-toe armour. Every part of his body is covered. Everything's individually tailored and sculpted to fit him.
Something that was imperative for Aemond was making this armour that was fully articulate with all of my joints. Because Aemond, as we've established, he's agile, he's flexible, and to have a piece of armour that tells that story and is also practical was just amazing.
The one thing that I introduced to the mix was I thought he should have a helmet that kind of honored the fact that he had an eye patch. Half of his face could be protected because he can't see out of that side of his face. And I just love that design because I think it's so intimidating to see that coming around the corner with the one eye peering at you from under the hood of that helmet.
The work that they pulled out the bag was just nothing short of incredible. And it's an honor that they let me be a part of that as well.
We wanted the Taking of Harrenhal to be visceral and dramatic in a way where you were seeing, not only Vhagar do her work, but also see what it takes for Aemond to carve his way through the castle.
Ewan loves stunts and fighting, clearly.
Ewan is sort of unquestionably our best cast fighter, I think, on the show. And I think everybody else would kind of own up to that too. Yeah, he just throws himself at all of this stuff.
Ewan is almost amazing at everything he does.
He's really cool. He's always been cool, though.
No, he is amazing at everything he does.
Ewan can do it all.
Ewan's awesome. He works really hard. He's naturally gifted with the sword.
I don't think I've worked with many people like Ewan. He throws himself into anything that you ask him to do.
Doing the choreography over and over again until it's second nature. I absolutely love it. I love it.
For the fight where he's basically fighting through every guy that comes at him, there was a single steady cam shot.
Doing those 2-minute-long fight scenes without breaking, it's just so immersive.
Ewan is a really passionate actor, and he knew as much as I did that it is a ballet, it is a dance between the two of us, and we've got to get it right. And then when Ewan swings that sword and you're right there with him, it's a little more real.
Then we have Vhagar kind of strafing and burning into the corridors, this kind of system of corridors.
We have the situation where we lit 2 guys behind him, so we had a guy that was manually lit.
Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1, action!
And then we had a guy ignited, which creates a fireball. And then he kills that person that's manually lit.
Seeing that full body burn 2 feet away from me, you can see his eyes, and these blue eyes are just engulfed by a 20-foot flame up in the air above him, and it's quite haunting. It's as real as it gets.
We normally don't set off bombs on stage in blast radius of one of our main characters.
But it's so much better, to see the character kill somebody that's fully on fire and it's actually them. There's so much value in that, and it's way too close to do face replacement.
All of these different elements that we've got of, people being on fire, props being on fire, now in post putting it all together and just having that as a base to build on, it's a luxury.
To me, action without emotion is empty. We have epic action sequences in contrast with these real intimate moments. So they're all rooted in something very real.